Right, so day 27 of 40 days of drumming. Uh, it's crazy because in my mind, I guess I feel like I'm like getting down to the wire, like there's hardly any time left. So one of the tricks that my mind is playing on me right now is this, like, what do you have to show for kind of thinking going on. Like I took this chunk of time out of my life and, you know, isolated myself from the world and, well, what do you got to show for it, And, it's a real, like, trap, a mental trap for me, because the truth is that I'm going to go back and I'm going to be working at Blue Man when I get to Orlando and Jameters and with the other musicians that I gig with around town, and I'm going to be seeing everybody, and a lot of people are going to know that I just did this whole thing. So there's going to be talk about it. I'm going to be hanging out with a bunch of drummers and musicians, and oh, what'd you do? What'd you practice? What was it like? All that kind of stuff. So there's, I can, one of the mental things, traps, I guess, is when I start thinking about that stuff when I'm practicing, and it's hard to like clear my mind of that, um, because there's that part of me that wants to like come back and be like, oh, well, check this out. I learned all this, and now I can do this and that. Um, but really, this whole process hasn't been about that, and like my body even isn't letting it be about that, you know. My hip was a lot better today. I was able to play a lot more. I still kind of get tired from sitting on the throne for that long and can't play real aggressive with my right foot yet. Um, but definite like step up today. Like I could definitely play a lot more and not feel like it was such a tender little thing. Like any movement that I did over there would really like uh, cause pain or cause those muscles to flare up again. So that's good. Pretty happy about that. Um, yeah, almost feels like my conga technique kind of took a step back. I'm not really sure why. Certain things a couple days ago that were just coming out, like my slaps were just coming out really easy and really like I was surprised that my hands were able to make those sounds, especially like without very much work, and it was almost like the lighter that I made my touch, the louder the sound got. And it's like this kind of cool revelation. And then today, just kind of not happening. The tone wasn't there, and the sounds weren't coming out. So I guess that's part of the game too. You gotta get through some bad days or not so good days or whatever. Some more, starting to do more metronome practice, trying to uh, redo my approach to that and making sure that practicing with the metronome doesn't cause me to tense up, to like get kind of mentally anxious, because now there's this, I have something telling me if I'm right or wrong. Because if I'm hitting with it, then that's correct. If I'm hitting behind or ahead of the beat, then that's incorrect. So I think it was great to not play with a metronome for that long, but still kind of try to work on rhythm. But now I'm getting back into working with the metronome. It's kind of the same thing with my bass drum technique, like I gotta ease back into it so as to not cause injury. Um, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I'm kind of easing back into it. Not all my practice during the day is with the metronome, but much more of it is starting to be. Um, and that's also like a reminder for me of certain things that are difficult playing at certain tempos. Most of the time right now what I'm doing is slow stuff. So it's like reminding me that, oh yeah, this is really slow and it's pretty tricky to keep it perfectly even at this slow tempo because there's so much space between the notes and leaving that space there, and as a drummer it's easy to just kind of try and fill in all the little spaces. So, oh yeah, and posture is something that I've been meaning to talk about. That's something I've been working on even since day one. Um, it's something that I've dealt with for a long time. I got my height real early, and I was like the tallest kid in class by a head by fifth or sixth grade, so the next kid was like his head came up to the top of my shoulders, and I remember like getting growing pains in my bones when I was a kid, and it would keep me up at night and stuff. And so all of a sudden I was really, really tall, but I didn't know kind of how to handle it, and it was almost like my bones were longer than my muscles were, so my muscles were real tight, and my posture got real, real bad around that age, 11, 12. And that's also right when I started playing drums. Um, so, like my shoulder blades, instead of them being down on the back where they're supposed to be, they were up. My shoulders were hunched over, my neck stuck out, and all of that. And, your body doesn't work as efficiently. I've done yoga now for about 10 years. Now, when I say have done yoga, it means, 10 years ago I took my first yoga class and wasn't doing it regularly back then. Went through some periods of kind of doing it regularly, but never really uh, committed to it. I did quite a bit on this tour, and I did notice that I was starting to, my right shoulder, the range of motion was starting to become restricted. Like I couldn't pull it back far, and like I think it's called the scapula, the shoulder blades back there, or whatever, are supposed to kind of be free moving and have like this range of motion. And you can do circles with your arms, and you have this range. But I was starting to notice that shoulder was not having the same range, and through doing quite a bit of yoga and stretching on tour, I began to get more range of motion back. And through yoga, I learned about the proper alignment of the body, how the body works better when it is aligned. When your spine is straight and your head is above your spine and above your tailbone, when all of that stuff is lined up, and that the spine is the main channel of energy through the body, and the energy can flow better if everything is aligned and everything is working properly. There's even a technique called the Alexander method, and that's all about body movement, and it's something that actors apply and musicians. And I was introduced to that concept in college, but just kind of like was introduced to it. It was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but never really, they didn't have classes for us, or actually we didn't learn any of the techniques. And just through the years I've really been trying to learn as much as I can about the body and the body mechanics and how it works and everything, because I was starting to encounter problems as a result of drumming so much and having bad posture while I drum and otherwise. Um, so that's something that I've really been working on. I have mirrors set up so that I can, and the main thing that I'm doing with the mirrors is just checking my posture. And I'm a little bit, I guess, surprised that it hasn't become more of a habit to be in good posture, because most of the time when I start playing, I'm trying to check my posture and set myself up so that my torso is straight and above my hip bones and all that. But it's years and years and years of bad habits in that department, and as soon as I start playing and take my eyes off the mirrors and start thinking about what I'm trying to execute, then the posture starts sagging. Overall, I think it's getting better. I think I'm getting used to having a slightly better posture, but still, really want to kind of make it a habit to have, as good a posture. The trick then is, if you're trying to hold your spine up straight and you're not used to that, then that can cause tension in and of itself, because you're it's like that military thing, you're trying to stick your chest out and all of that. Well, that's not really the point either. When things are aligned properly, the spine really holds itself up. So it's telling me my storage is almost full. Okay. So I'll have to wrap this up quick. Yeah, when the spine is lined up, that's everything's good. It'll hold itself up. And it'll actually relax and extend itself. And then that's when the energy can really flow and all of that. But we have these old habits, and let the shoulders sag, let the mid section sag, and it does it. So, all right, that's it. Less than 2 weeks left. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna wrap it up, delete some of these videos, or I guess move them to my computer tomorrow. Bye bye.